Okay, first we're going to talk to Jeff at Charlotte FC. Jeff, how are you?
Excellent, Andy. Thank you for having us.
Well, can you tell us about Charlotte FC's season's just kicking off now? Can you tell us about the camps and clinics you have for this year?
Yes, we have a wide array of opportunities. We are catering to the youngest of the group at starting at 3 years old,
Wow.
going all the way up to high schoolers and 18-year-olds. We hope to cater to all the different types of players, whether they're beginners looking to simply just get involved in the game or they aspire to play at the next level, whether that be academy or college, and we can provide opportunities for them to hone their skills and kind of make those connections in the area.
Now, I'm sure it's different for every age level, but can you tell us what a typical session looks like?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we're based around fun. We want them having a smile on their face, meeting new friends, scoring goals, and finding success. Really, it's based upon the level of player. We do have a good combination of coaches and academy players and cool venues, really to provide a really fun and engaging opportunity. But to your question, they're playing fun, engaging games, whether that be Sharks and Minnows, red light, green light, going up to the higher competitive players where we're actually discussing tactics and getting into position specific activities.
And can you tell us why you particularly love working at this camp?
I love investing in today's and tomorrow's youth. We
Mhm.
understand that while some aspire to be players and playing at Bank of America, and we hope to provide that opportunity, we really just want to instill life skills with them and use soccer as that vehicle for character development.
Oh, that's interesting. And so, can you talk a little bit about, in terms of you talked about the different grade levels?
Mhm.
Can you tell us about what this camp offers in particular? That I mean, other than being associated with such an enormous brand, what you offer that other soccer camps might not offer?
Sure. I mean, I think a big thing are the value adds and the touch points with the club. Everybody wants to have their photograph or an autograph from one of the first team players, so we have access to that.
Mm,
Some of the cooler venues, we have the Atrium Health Dome at their disposal, where the Carolina Panthers practice. So it's a cool venue with that novelty factor of it all. We are developing a new state of the art facility at McAlpine Park, so that should be in our
mm.
repertoire as well. Sir Minty, our mascot, is a fan favorite, so he's always out there with the kids as well. And really just having a lot of resources, so some giveaways and some other value adds that they'll walk away and they won't be empty handed, and they'll have a great experience as well.
And can you go a little bit more in detail in terms of the schedule for this year and how that's going to break down?
Sure. So we'll have single day clinics taking place throughout the spring and fall.
Hmm.
Most of them will be in the greater Charlotte area. For the spring, it'll be at Sportsplex in Matthews or at Elon Park before we transition to our new facility at McAlpine Park in the summer.
Hmm.
Most of our summer programming are going to be the multi-day camps where we have half-day and full-day options from 9 to 12 or 9 to 3. They typically run Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, so a good opportunity in the summer. But really, checking out our website is the best, as we're always adding additional opportunities. Sometimes it's free and for the community, and we're simply looking to engage. And other times they're more like college ID and a little bit more intense and competitive.
Interesting. And is there anything else you'd like to add about this year's camp offerings?
Last year was our first year.
Hmm.
We learned a lot. We're excited to be out there and have even more offerings.
Sure.
If you have a player that's interested in being involved in the game and engaging with MLS and the pinnacle of the sport here, this is a great opportunity.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff. And you can find Jeff in the room throughout the duration of this camp fair. So thank you, Jeff. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Next, we have Patrick with Jazz Arts Charlotte. Patrick, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Andy?
Good, good. Can you first tell me about Jazz Arts as an organization and then about your camps in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jazz Arts Charlotte, we are a nonprofit organization started by Lonnie and O.C. Davis in 2009. And we are committed to quality performance, education, and musician support programs.
And what do your camps do for kids in particular?
So a lot of times this is an introduction to jazz for many students, although we do have many returning students as well, but teaching them about jazz and its history, its relationship to American culture, African-American history, but also the performance of jazz and how that works. We focus on improvisation being the heart of jazz and small group interaction among students.
Would you say there's as much immersion in terms of, and of course you have the greats like Miles Davis and even up to like Wynton Marsalis. Would you say if kids have an interest in sort of newer jazz, that there's an ability to explore maybe like Robert Glasper or those kind of modern musicians?
Absolutely, and he just won a Grammy recently. So yeah, we love learning. I learn from my students, and they learn from us. So sometimes students know a little bit more about the current trends than we do. So we are certainly open. We love talking about, jazz and its history, but also its evolution and where it's come as well. So we're open to it all.
Great. And can you talk about what a typical session looks like, say, if I'm one of your younger students coming in for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. So we meet from 9 to 3 at UNC Charlotte's campus. And every day actually looks a little bit different for us. We vary and mix it up just to keep things fun and keep the students on their toes. But there's several different opportunities. One, we do our basis is the combo rehearsal time, but we also do master classes. Specific instruments go in with specific teachers and learn techniques specific to their instrument. We also play games, history games, and we work ear training a little bit, introduction to what that means. And we also have some history and some listening. But then there's also a special time with our guest that comes in over the summer, and we get to jam with them and do a jam session and get to perform with an international guest artist.
Wow. Well, in particular, can you talk about what it is you enjoy working at this camp, and what you enjoy about working with these students?
Well, I love introducing students to jazz. I love them all at every level, but that's the funnest part of my job is getting a student interested in jazz, or even just an introduction that may not know about the music. So that's super fun to see that passion and that awareness of the music. And I also really love talking about its connection with American culture and American history. It's just a fun way to connect the history of our country.
Was there anything else you'd like to add, Patrick, about what you're offering this year?
No, the one thing I can announce, well, yes, the Wycliffe Gordon, international Grammy award-winning trombonist, former member of the Jazz at Lincoln Center and the Wynton Marsalis Septet, is our special guest for this summer. So he's one of the greatest jazz musicians of our time. So students will get to meet and work side by side and get to play with him this summer. So we're really excited about that.
Well, fantastic. You can join Patrick in the booth throughout the event. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Next, we have folks from the Inner Peaks programs. Hello, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Now, we all know Inner Peaks as a place that we go for recreation ourselves or taking our kids. Can you talk about what your camps offer in particular?
Sure.
Yeah, guys. So welcome. Hi, I'm Megan. I'm the program manager here for both Inner Peaks locations, and this is Ian, group programs manager. Thank you for joining us today. So at Inner Peaks, we have summer camps that run for about 10 weeks, and then they're broken up into 2 different types of camps. One being the Wall Crawlers camp, which is ages 7 to 10, and then New Rockers, You guys have me nervous. And then the wall crawlers that are 11 to 14. Okay. Now, the breakdown of those camps kind of runs pretty similar. We have a lot of chunk time that's devoted to things like icebreakers, learning the basics and fundamentals of climbing on the wall, acquiring belay skills, and learning like climbing technique. But then we also offset that to keep that climbing portion of the camp sustainable by doing team building activities, educational opportunities for like learning leave no trace, trail stewardship, and then like responsibility as you transition from indoor climbing to outdoor climbing, things of that nature. We also work in plenty of time for snack, games that are totally non-climbing related, like dodgeball, tie-dye days, and that's pretty much the gist.
That's a lot. That's quite a lot. Can you tell me about why you two in particular enjoy working with this kind of camp?
Yeah, so the big thing that's really fun about these styles of camp is when you have kids come in and they're starting to see climbing for the first time, it's sort of this open world that's been right next to them. And you get to kind of open their eyes to this whole new idea of outdoor recreation, but you get to do it inside where you get a lot of direct instruction. And so you get these kids who come in and they're excited. They're like, hey, I'm climbing, but now how do I do this with ropes? Or what's the next step here? And you get to like individually guide them towards their climbing path, their career, or recreation activity. And it's, while there are a lot of, campers at one time and a lot of staff, throughout the week, you get to develop these really nice one-on-one kind of educational and like mentorship roles. And by the end of the week, you take a kid who's never climbed before, and now he's like super stoked, super knowledgeable, and has this perfect entryway into that recreation.
Yeah, and I'll just follow that up too by just saying that climbing, much like a couple other sports, is a lifelong sport. So we have anywhere from ages 5 in the facility to 75. Wow. And it is also a community-oriented type of sport. So our facilities, we're seeing a lot of the same faces every day, certainly every week. So what we see with these summer camps is a lot of the times we do have a great retention for campers who have attended camps in the past and then are signing up year over year and then progressing through from the younger to the older. But typically it's a really good gateway to allow them to see the opportunities to be involved for our after school programs, for team, for birthday parties, or like large groups and like celebrating events that, are outside of the climbing community within the climbing community. So yeah,
I've been to a couple birthday parties. Those are good times over there. I like the way you all have the classic party set up, but then it's just unlike anything else you're going to go to in Charlotte for a birthday party. Was there anything else you'd like to add about this year's camp offerings in particular?
I will just say that one thing that's really excited about our camps this year is, I'm not sure how many of you listening are aware of our phase 2 development with our Matthews location. We are operating at capacity or at semi-capacity right now. We have all of the same climbing open that we have in the past. Our hours are just a little limited right now because they're doing some steel work for 55-foot lead walls in the back of the facility. So that is projected to be done by no later than July. And so if you do decide to have your camper attend a camp at Matthews, know that they will have the full access to the facility that has been accessible before. But if you wait a little bit later into the summer, then you will be able to see like basically a brand new gym, or at least like something amazing that's been transformed.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and we can find you in the room for the duration of the event, right?
Yep. Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you all. And now we have Elise with Junior Achievement Summer Camps. Elise, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. So first, can you tell us, I mean, I've been in your place over there, and it's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization and then talk about the camps in particular?
Absolutely. So I serve as the education manager at Junior Achievement of Central Carolinas, and JA, as we call it typically, primarily focuses on developing financial literacy, work and career readiness, and entrepreneurship in K through 12 students. And so We do that through a variety of different programs. Some parents have probably heard of JA BizTown, or maybe they volunteered in JA BizTown. Maybe they volunteered in a classroom with some of our elementary school programs. So that's sort of the broad gist of what we do. And then summer camp is going to look a little bit different from what we typically do.
Yeah, and so maybe share on a typical day, depending on what age you are coming into it.
Yeah, sure. So summer camp, how we're running summer camp this summer is we're doing 3 different weeks. Our first week is a half-day week in terms of JA Finance Park. So that week, every week is for rising 4th through 8th grade students, although we will differentiate what's going on by grade and by age group. But for the most part, what will be happening is Finance Park Week. Campers will be focusing on personal finance. They'll be learning about savings and risk management. How do I make a budget? What's that about? What is a net monthly income? And sort of given a life scenario where they figure out, okay, maybe if I'm married or if I have kids, what does that mean for budgeting or buying groceries or paying rent? So things like that. BizTown Summer Camp focuses more on the work and career readiness. So what does it mean to work in a job? What does it mean to be a CEO? What skills do I have to have? How do I prepare to enter the workforce? And then that full week of summer camp is going to be a combined experience. So they'll do the Finance Park in the morning and the JA BizTown in the afternoon. Lots of engaging activities where they're doing hands-on learning, where they're in our facility, interacting with our storefronts, and learning more through in-depth opportunities outside of the classroom.
And can you talk about why you enjoy working with these kids on these kind of camps in particular?
Oh gosh, I wish I had an hour. I really love working with our campers and working with our students on developing these skills because they are essential for success. Right. JA's mission is to inspire and prepare people to succeed in a global economy. And I am learning things as an adult, especially working with our students, that I wish I had known at the age of 10, at the age of 13, especially when it comes to now being in a professional environment as a young adult. I'm a fairly young adult, so learning those skills at a young age and seeing their eyes light up when they have the opportunity to pretend to be an adult for a little while and learn what that is like. That's incredibly exciting, and it always sparks new things for me. So I absolutely adore it.
That's awesome. And so last, I would ask you if there's anything you want to add that we didn't touch on in this conversation about what camps you're offering this year.
I think otherwise, just making sure that all of our parents know that those weeks for Finance Park and BizTown are half day, and that full week of summer camp is really, if you are interested in sort of both of those opportunities, you're like, I can't pick between one or the other. That full week of summer camp, the last week in June, is full day. So they're all full week, but that last week in June is full day. So you get to have a little bit of both. So we'd love to have their campers. We'd absolutely love to work with them.
Fantastic. Well, if you want to talk more with Elise, you'll be in the camp booth throughout the duration of the festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, I thought we had Bart Frost with Covenant Day. It looks like we have somebody else.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great.
Tell us about Covenant Day's camps. We know Covenant Day is a major presence in Charlotte. Can you talk about the camps you all offer?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we offer about 42 different camps. Our signature camp is Camp Lion.
Nice.
That's why my buddy was with me this morning. That's for kindergarten through 5th grade. We offer 5 weeks of camp, 3 weeks in June and 2 weeks in July. We take the 4th of July week off. We offer both full and half day camps. We also are introducing a new Cub camp this year, which is for rising TKs.
Oh, wow.
really excited about that. They'll have their own dedicated director, senior counselor, junior counselor, and a counselor in training, really giving them a lot of the hands-on kind of relationship piece. We're a Christian-based camp. We have a theme for every week. So we have the color week, where we'll have some fun with color. We bought the circus. We actually will have a ringmaster, clowns. We have a unicycle troupe that's coming in to do some demonstrations. Awesome. We have superheroes through the Bible. We have the history of Christianity, where we'll meet and talk to a lot of the unique characters of the Bible. Will come and visit us during the week. And then our last week is totally made up countries, where we take Greek words from the Bible and create countries around them. So last year we had Agape Land. And part of what the kids do during that time is they learn what it means to show agape love. So we've got 5 new countries this year that we're going to roll out. In addition, we have 5 rotations. So we have an art rotation, a Bible rotation, a science rotation, a reading rotation, and a PE rotation. So that's our morning session. Then we have a convocation, we have lunch, and then the afternoons are more fun and let's get outside and work out all that energy. Tuesdays and Thursdays are our special days. Those are water or splash days, as we like to refer to them. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go out and we play in the water. Last year, we went through 20,000 water balloons.
Wow.
Thursdays is big slide day. So we rent a 20 to 24 foot inflatable slide, bring it on campus, and the kids have lots of fun with that. In addition to the Camp Lion and Cub Camp activities, we also have auxiliary camps. We have basketball, American Doll Girl camp, science camps, engineering camps, art camps, pottery camps, basketball, football. Disc golf is a new camp for us, pickleball camp. So if we've really got a broad range of opportunities and things that if you've got a kid between 5 years old by August 15th and seniors in high school, we probably have some kind of camp available. We do 2 college admissions camps, which are fill up very, very fast. It's a 4-week program where we focus on helping high school juniors and seniors prepare for the fun of applying to college.
Oh, sure.
It's done through our counseling team, bringing a lot of experts. The American Doll Girl Camp is a really exciting one. We take an individual American Doll themes, and they learn about what the history was. So last year we had chickens here one day. We had a Hawaiian luau. We went to the outback in Australia. So they're very much themes. I have a background in theater, so we do lots of guest visitors.
Oh, gotcha. Right. Also, spatially look alike in some ways.
Yeah, they're similar. But what's really fun is a lot of our camp counselors, which are our senior counselors, are usually college students.
Right.
And a lot of them have that same kind of let's have some fun activities. Awesome. So we take turns doing some of those roles.
That's actually one of my next question in terms of counselors. And I'm curious, in terms of anything else new this year, you mentioned the TK program. You mentioned that the disc golf is now in the sports rotation.
Yep.
What else is new this year?
We have a new pottery program. So we have a pottery art. So they'll have a 5-day pottery project that we're going to actually announce this week. We have a fitness program for middle schoolers. Those are longer term camps, but they're short in duration as far as the time during the day. We're also announcing those this week. So watch our website for lots of new announcements. And then the other new camp is that we expanded the American Doll Girl Camp. Last year we did 1 day, 1 half day, and it filled up literally in about 22 minutes. So this year we expanded that to 4 new camps. So there's 4 American Doll Girl camps, morning and afternoon sessions. 1 week it's the same morning and afternoon. You just pick which one works for you. And then there's a brand new set of dolls that are being introduced for the second week.
Oh, nice tie-in. Great. Well, thank you, Bart. And if you all want to have more questions for Covenant Day, they'll be in their booth throughout and their wild animal behind them. Thank you so much, Bart.
It's been great spending time with you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Next, we have Brent from Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Charlotte. Brent, how are you doing?
Good. I'm not sure if I can follow Bart.
Well, first, of course, like Covenant Day, Salvation Army has an enormous presence in Charlotte. Can you talk about what these camps are in particular and what they offer?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize that the Salvation Army has a partnership with Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and we have 7 Boys and Girls Clubs here in this community, both in Mecklenburg and Union counties. And so during the summer, we offer a summer day camp program. Obviously, we have after-school programs throughout the school year, but during the summer, we offer a full-day summer day camp experience for families in our community.
Hey, can you talk about what a typical day looks like at those camps?
Well, there's not really a typical day. Each club plans their own activities, but we do have some things that kind of tie it all together. But it's a wide variety of activities on a typical day. We have arts programs, we have sports programs, we have STEM activities, really a variety of different things to help students avoid the summer brain drain that they tend to get during the summer. So we want to keep them engaged, but also make it fun. So we also plan a variety of field trips and things like that throughout the summer as well.
And can you talk about what type of child, and I'm sure this is wide ranging, is particularly successful at your camp, or particularly the kind of hobbies and interests you all are working with here?
Yeah, so we aim to make our programs accessible for anyone. That's really our mission, is to provide opportunities for any child in our community. We think that they all should have access to these types of programs. And so that's why we make our programs as affordable as possible. Membership at our Boys and Girls Clubs is only $5 per year. During the summer, our rates are about $60 a week, which is pretty affordable. And we also have financial need-based scholarships for families. And so we want to make them accessible. But then once you're in the club, there's so many different types of activities that you can get involved with that there's really something for everyone.
And can you talk about what you enjoy personally about working with these camps?
What I enjoy personally is just seeing the success stories of individuals, of young people that have come through our Boys and Girls Clubs. I think of one in particular from a couple of years ago that needed some direction in his life, didn't really know what his future was going to be. During one of our summer day camp programs, we had a 6-week coding class. And today he's at North Carolina A&T, a computer science major. So he discovered that love for coding at our Boys and Girls Club and decided to pursue that as a career. So we have countless stories like that, and those are the ones that really inspire you in this line of work.
That's great. Well, is there anything else about this year in particular you want to add?
Yeah, so we're in the process of putting some of the final touches on the plans, but we're excited about some of the groups that we actually bring in to provide some additional activities. So we work with Great Outdoors University to come do some programs. We're in conversations with the Charlotte Knights on baseball clinics. Charlotte FC is a part of our camp today. We've been in conversations with them about some clinics. So we're real excited about the different things that we're bringing into the club this summer to keep our kids engaged.
Awesome. Well, if you want to learn more, join Brent in their booth throughout the duration of the fair. Thank you so much, Brent.
Thanks, Andy.
Next, we have Beth from Camp Greer over there in McDowell County. Is that right?
Camp Greer is located in McDowell County in Old Fort, North Carolina.
Fantastic. Will you tell us about the camp then? It's one of the ones that are overnight, correct? In our
yes, we are an overnight camp for kids ages 7 to 17. So rising 2nd grade to rising 12th grade.
Wow, it's quite a stretch. So I'm sure a typical day looks different per grade level there, or how does that work?
Yeah, basically our 2nd and 3rd graders are going to spend the week on camp. They're going to do activities ranging from going to the swimming pool to paddling around the lake to taking that hike in the woods, just the fun activities around camp. They're going to go to the art room, all the different activities that we have. And then as they get older and they get into upper elementary, they're able to do those activities, but they add to the palette that they do an overnight where they go on our camp property, but they camp at a campsite that doesn't have electricity and doesn't.
Oh, wow.
So they get to go on an overnight camping trip. But they do that all camp based. And then also in upper elementary, they can start to do our specialty camps. We have an equestrian camp, a mountain bike camp, and a farm camp. So if they have interest in those areas, they have those specialty options. And then once they get to middle school, they can do those specialty options, but it also is a little bit more of an adventure component. They take the things that they learned in elementary school and apply it to other places besides our property. So we have a climbing wall where they learn climbing skills when they're in elementary school, but once they hit middle school, they get to go on a trip out into the national forest and go rock climbing. Wow. We paddle on the lake and we teach those skills when they're younger. And then once they're in middle and high school, they are able to go out and to put that on a river where the water's running. So, so that's sort of how our program grows with kids.
I was going to say, it sounds like you probably have a lot of returning campers in this scenario because we
do. We have a lot of campers. Yep. Yeah. We have a lot of campers who come year after year after year. Me included. I started as a 10-year-old camper at our camp.
Really? Well,
yeah.
My next question was going to ask you about the history of the camp a little bit. If you could tell us a little bit more about how long Camp Greer has been in the area.
Yep. Camp Greer was started by the Presbyterian Church, well, a group of Presbyterian churches in 1952. So we just celebrated our 70th anniversary. And about 8 years ago, we became a standalone not-for-profit. So we still have a lot of relationships with churches, a lot of support from them, but we are a standalone not-for-profit now. We have campers and staff who come from a variety of backgrounds and beliefs.
Great. And is there anything else you want to add for what's new this year or anything else in particular you want to add about this year's sessions?
I don't know that we have anything new, but I feel like we were really getting back to more of a normal operation post COVID, being able to, and there's a lot of interest and a lot of wonderful reasons to be outdoors now and to get out and to unplug and to just watch that magic happen with kids.
Well, thank you, Beth. Thank you for joining us. And they can join you in the booth throughout the duration of the fair. Yes. That's right. All right. Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you.
We're now joined by Anne Marie from Miller Street Dance Academy. How are you today?
I'm well, and yourself?
Doing well, doing well. So can you tell us a little bit about what your academy does in terms of camps?
Yeah, absolutely. So our camps are half-day camps, like I've heard a lot of today. They're for ages 3 to 8 years old, and as long as they're between that age range during the camp you're interested in, they qualify. And they are Monday through Thursday, so they're 4 days long.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like a lot of different ability levels that are coming in, a lot of different kinds of interests. Can you talk about a typical session? Say maybe you said 3 down to 3 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so people always question that with the wide age range and the different capabilities between a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old, obviously. So what we do for that is when they enter camp, they get to do some stuff together, like games, face painting, things of that nature, just so they all feel like unified and as like a little group that they are. But then at that point, we divide them by age range. So they all have different age categories. So like 3 to 4-year-old, 5 to 6-year-old, so on and so forth, to where they can be with people of their skill level. So that when we start to do more complex things like arts and crafts or tumbling down the acro mats, then they're able to do things of their ability.
Oh, great. And can you tell us about the organization itself, the year-round activities you all engage in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 different locations, both of which our camps and our normal scheduled things are offered at.
Okay.
And we go from age 2.5 all the way to 18. So anytime that they're close to school ranges, that's what we're doing. So for them, they just have every different genre of dance, basically that isn't ballroom, available to them. Hip hop, tap, acrobatics, ballet, point, lyrical, jazz, everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, in terms of a child who has a particular interest, how did they let you all know about that particular interest, and how is that engaged? Do you all cater lessons to the interest of the room, or how does that work?
Yeah, so our different camps based on, so we have obviously a set thing that we do
curriculum
throughout the camps. But the way you can tell kind of what genres we're going to be working on during camp is dependent on what you sign up for. So for example, Princess Camp, we're going to be working on something more like ballet or lyrical because it's all pretty and flowy. However, if you're doing superheroes or Encanto, that's going to be more of like jazzy hip hop realm because it's a more upbeat concept.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you all do tie them into contemporary pop culture as a sort of an entry point for the kids?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of times, like for our Encanto camp, that one has filled up the fastest because Encanto is all the rage right now. A couple years ago, Frozen was it. So it just depends on what you're interested in.
Sure. And can you talk about your own history with the organization and why you enjoy being a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So like the person who was on before, I got here as an individual who was actually a dancer here, kind of like she went to camp at Camp Greer. So I went to dance here. I started dance late in the game, and just the way that they helped me and like surrounded me like family to really help me to go quickly because I did start late, showed me like, oh, these people are actually really caring. And let me tell you, I was not good when I joined. So they're not the kind of people to be like, if you're not good, we're not going to pay attention to you. No, they're like a family unit. And that just made me want to continue here. I started assisting, and then I started teaching and working in the office here.
Fantastic. So is there anything else that's new for this year that you wanted to mention?
So our schedules and things like that are the same as they've always been because people really gravitate towards it. But the Encanto Camp is our new theme. So that is the really new addition this year. And then we found some games last year that the kids adored. So we're bringing those into camp. So we're going to have some new games and things like that too.
Awesome. And can you go ahead and list this year's schedule one more time so folks know?
Yeah, absolutely. So camps start June 12th. That's the earliest date of summer. And they end the week of August 7th. So June through August is when our camps are offered, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 12:30, and they run that whole 8 weeks.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
We're joined by Quintel from the call center. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing very well. Well, we all know the McCall Center as a cultural institution in Uptown, long-standing there. Can you tell us about the camps that you all offer? Creativity camps, right? Is that what
Yes. And that's what it's about, exploring creativity. We're a place where art is made, and artists are also here in our building. So we want to be able to offer to young aspiring artists a chance to work with professional artists, use our studios, our ceramics lab, our printmaking lab, and really enjoy a summer filled with art making.
So your residents are going to be, people are going to be seeing them make work when they come to these camps. They're able to see this work come to fruition in person?
They will, but then they'll also be taught by these artists. So we have artists in residence who visit us, and then we have studio artists that are local to the Charlotte area, and they are typically our teaching artists as well.
Fantastic. Now, in terms of the different mediums you all cover, can you talk about the range of different approaches you all offer there?
Yeah, we have a really popular fashion course, ceramics. We have courses that are linked to our lab. So because we have a kiln on site, students can learn ceramics and they are fired in the kiln. We have a wonderful printmaking studio. So we have a printmaking and adventures class. We offer digital illustration. We have a media lab. And then watercolor, drawing, sketchbook. We're home to a figure drawing class that the public takes monthly. So we're looking forward to exposing students to that as well.
And can you take us in the weeds a little bit in terms of how the schedule works and how the durations are going to work this year?
Yeah, so we got our age group, we go from 7 to 16, but they're broken out into 2 groups. So we have 7 to 11, our younger group, and then 12 to 16. And we do that because the skill set, the instruction and lesson plans and hand-based hands-on activities, as well as a peer engagement is a little different based on the groups. But we are half day. So from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., students are taught by a teaching artist or that master instructor. And then we have a second day, an extension in the day where we go from 3 to 5 so that students can do a relaxed activity. We incorporate yoga. We have outdoor time on our grounds. We have picnic table outside. And so we really try to just get them out, get them some fresh air and have a more, I think we've done some activities that were really centered around art therapy and more relaxed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if I pick printmaking as a kid and I want to try out something else, can I use that time to explore a different medium if I wanted to?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. And are there any new programs this year that you want to talk about in particular?
Oh, yeah. We've added sketchbook and creative journaling. So last year we piloted to see how creative journaling would go, and it went very well. So a lot of students are interested in how to make their own journaling or process for capturing their own personal ideas and making art that doesn't necessarily fit into a specific mold, but maybe like mark making or collaging, where you can explore a range of mediums and kind of personalize it. And then we're adding digital illustration, which is very new to us. We've always done illustration in the past. And so we've had a request for how to integrate that with digital technology. And so we're looking forward to that too. It is kind of grew out of our comic book illustration series. And so this fast-paced world is using a lot of technology to integrate with art. And while we're a place where art making can happen from a physical perspective, we are definitely trying to lean into technology too. So I think that one's going to be fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to add about this year's camp program?
Yeah, I think that we've offered new classes. So the printmaking, the watercolor, the digital illustration, the sketchbook, fashion is a very popular class. So what we're trying to do is see across the spectrum, what are those art skill and art classes that are difficult to offer if you don't have a center where there's room for that kind of making. And so we're trying to be that type of creative hub in the city.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if people have other questions, they can come to your booth, right?
You got it. I'm here.
All right. Thank you so much, Quintel.
Thank you.
Next, we have a representative from ILIM. Now, I want to talk about this. I'm particularly interested in this idea of multi-language immersion. Can you explain how that happens at your camps?
Absolutely. So we're obviously first off a school, right? And so we did this as an extension of our school. We had a lot of families that wanted to kind of dip their toe in it, or also just learn more about the process in general, or just give a little exposure. So we recruited teachers from all over the world: Dubai, Algeria, China, Cuba, Colombia, all of them. And we've brought them here to our school so that we can have an authentic language immersion process that incorporates culture. So what happens is we have 4 classes for each grade level or each age group. So we have a toddler program, which our summer camp allows, which is 2 to 3. And then we have our primary, which is 3 to 6. And then we have our lower L 6 to 9. And then our upper L 9 to 12. And so with those kind of programs, they each have their 4 classes, their main classes, and they each represent a language. So Mandarin, Arabic, Spanish, and English. And the kids actually rotate through each class every single day. And it's immersive, meaning there's no English spoken or no other language spoken. Everything's written in that language. So from day one, you're kind of immersed in like another world. And at these ages, we find that it has been so advantageous and just so wonderful, but also really for them to learn the culture because they have native speakers here. So it's been really exciting from that perspective.
And you talked a little bit about a typical day or a session and how they rotate. In terms of that, this is, I mean, if I have a child who has an interest in a particular language, are there specific educational benefits of learning parallel languages at the same time? And what does that do for a child to be able to learn multiple languages instead of just one at a time?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So the great part about it is actually there's studies that show that pretty much under 12, but we like to stay around that 8 age. Anything under that, the brain is not, there's a part of the language side of your brain that hasn't actually quite closed. So there's an opportunity to learn, honestly, a vast amount of languages. So we have students that already came to our school with 3 and 4 languages because their families speak it. And so there's not really a limit. And so for us, what we focus on, all right, if we're going to make these kids a little more competitive in the world, not just in the US, but if we want, world citizens, what are those top languages spoken in the world? And that is Mandarin, with 1.05 billion people who speak that. And then you obviously have English, and then you have Spanish, which is about 530 million. And then you have Arabic, which is 389 million people. So when you look at all of that, we said, what were the top languages? What's going to make them competitive? Who speaks the most of these languages? And that's kind of how we came up with that. But immense benefits, obviously, even in the way the kids think. They think dynamically now, right? So they process differently, which I think is the most unique that we've experienced. Even like math concepts and science concepts, they're able to like connect them faster. And that's a phenomenon that we really can't quite explain. We've just started to see it within our program.
Now, I know that, of course, being a global citizen, a better global citizen is a major benefit of this. But do you find that there are even civic benefits to kids that are more engaged in their own communities because they know more about their neighbors?
That is so wonderful. Yes. And one of the things we love to say is we don't have to teach diversity because they're in it, right? And so there is so much of just understanding. And I think the word we like to use is appreciation. It's one thing just to identify a culture. It's another thing to appreciate it and to really, and even different people. So our kids are just so much more open to just differences in the sense that they almost don't even feel like they're different. It actually creates more connectivity, which is what we found. So my son's probably a lot more comfortable around an Arabic speaker than I would have ever been when I was younger, right? And so because that's his world. And so I think that's that benefit. I love that you focus on that. That's an immense benefit that we think is there as well. And we hope they bring that to their communities.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you want to add about this year's offerings in particular?
Yeah, so our summer camp is actually a little different because some people were like, well, we don't want to necessarily want to just do just school, and we understand that. So that summer camp part, although our kids are still technically in school because we are year-round school, that June month becomes a project-based kind of learning and activity. So they get really, like I like to joke, they get in the weeds. So they design rockets. They may do huge projects that they take outside, but they're doing this in all the languages. They have food days and cultural days. They're bringing in different music types. It gets so fun. And so we also have added art and music. Those are our enrichments. And we already had like economics class, which is like a basic level. So, but yeah, I mean, it's an extension. However, that period of time really focuses on the more fun project based, but they're also getting that culture and that language. So it's a great like kickoff for a new student has never been exposed to the languages.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, those are all my questions. I mean, folks can join you for the duration of the fair right now. But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, no, I think you guys have covered this. It's been a phenomenal opportunity. We've gotten to talk to many people already. And like I said, it's great if you want to just try us out and see and what that even looks like for your kid. It is different. It is new. So, but we say come with it in an open mind. So thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
And we'll be right back. Hey folks, I just want to remind you that you can click on any of the booths below if you're just joining us to engage with any of the camp representatives. Also, I wanted to go ahead and put it on your calendar now. We have on October 14th later this year, we have our 2023 school fair, which will be a lot of fun. That'll be in person at Junior Achievement of the Central Carolinas at Camp North End. And if you have any other questions or you want to find out more about that, head to our website. Thank you.